Dave Taban. In a universe filled with things that can see, touch, and measure, there exists another world. One so small yet powerful that it can change everything. It is a world built from atoms, where tiny particles can heal, strengthen, and create wonders beyond imagination. So this hidden realm is where science meets possibility and where the future begins. Welcome! We are the Nano Genius, a group driven by curiosity and the belief that even the smallest ideas can spark the biggest breakthrough. Today, we open the door to the extraordinary world of nanotechnology, where the tiniest things holds the greatest impact. Now, what is nanotechnology really is? Nanotechnology focuses on manipulating extremely small things down to the size of atoms and molecules. The idea began in 1959 when Richard Feynman talked about controlling individual atoms. Years later, Norio Taniguchi named it or coined the term nanotechnology. Today, it is used in many scientific fields that it would be discussed later on. Now, let's proceed to the next slide. How small is nanoscale? A nanometer is incredibly small, 1 billionth of a meter. At this scale, we can see things like DNA, viruses, and individual micromolecules. It's a size far beyond our eyes and the normal microscopes can see. Now, let's proceed to the slide 3, where the importance and uses of nanotechnology. And nanotechnology is important because it allows scientists to build new materials with special properties such as stronger, lighter, or more reactive. This leads to improvements in healthcare such as drugs, delivery, diagnostics. For the environmental protection, the water purification. And for the energy production, the solar cells and the batteries. And even the agriculture and food safety, the preservation and the sensors. Now let's proceed to the viewing of the nanoscale that would be discussed by my pretty co-reporter.
Good day everyone. Today I will be discussing how to view nanomaterials, tiny structures too small to be seen by the naked eye or even by ordinary microscopes. To study them, scientists use advanced imaging tools that can zoom in at the nanoscale, which is about a billionth of a meter. In this discussion, we'll explore the three main instruments used: the electron microscope, atomic force microscope, and scanning tunneling microscope. I will also explain the diagrams and images shown. The first type is the electron microscope. The electron microscopes were invented in the 1930s by Ernst Röska and Max Knoll. Unlike light microscopes, they use electrons to create images, allowing much higher magnification, up to 1,000,000 times. There are two main types of microscope, the SEM and TEM. The first one is the scanning electron microscope or SEM. This diagram shows how an SEM works. At the top is the electron gun, which releases electrons downward. Magnets guide and focus these electrons until they hit the sample. When the electrons strike the surface, they produce signals detected and converted into a detailed 3D-like surface image. The second picture shows an actual SEM machine. It has a large chamber where the sample is placed and a control panel where scientists adjust magnification and imaging settings. This machine is used to look at textures and shapes of nanomaterials on the surface. So in summary, the SEM is used to study surface details, the bumps, cracks, and structures on the outer layer of the nanomaterials.
The second type is the transmission electron microscope. So the first image shows a diagram on how a TEM sends electrons through a very thin specimen. So the electrons pass from top to bottom, forming a clear image of the internal structures. Lenses and detectors help focus and capture these details. So the second picture shows the real TEM microscope. So this picture shows a real TEM device that is usually large and connected to computers. Because electrons must pass through the sample, the specimen must be extremely thin and sometimes only a few nanometers thick. So TEM particles, viruses, and atomic arrangement. Now let's proceed to the atomic force microscope. So atomic force microscope is developed in 1986 by Gerd Binning, Calvin Kuit, and Christoph Gerber. The AFM does not use electrons or light. Instead, it uses a sharp probe that feels the surface of the material. So the picture shows an AFM setup, and the sharp tip attaches to a cantilever scan across the material's surface. So a laser beam reflects off the cantilever to detect movement. So as the tip moves up and down across bumps and valleys, the machine creates a 3D map of the surface at the nanoscale. So AFM provides detailed topography like a terrain map of the nanomaterial's surface. So the third type of microscope is the scanning tunneling microscope. So the scanning tunneling microscope is invented by Gerd Binning and Heinrich Rohrer, who won the 1986 Nobel Prize. So the STM allows scientists to even manipulate atoms. So this diagram shows a sharp metal tip placed extremely close to the sample surface. A tiny electric current, called tunneling current, flows between the tip and the sample. By measuring this current, the STM creates a map of atoms on the surface. So the image shown here is the real image of an STM. So the image shows an example of an STM-generated atomic surface. So each small bump represents an individual atom, showing how powerful this tool is at imaging the smallest possible structures. So STM allows viewing individual atoms and even moving them one by one. In summary, nanomaterials are so small that special tools are required to observe them. So SEM shows surface details, TEM shows internal structures, and AFM creates 3D surface maps using a mechanical probe. So STM allows scientists to view and also to manipulate atoms directly. And these instruments or these microscopes have revolutionized material science, electronics, medicine, and nanotechnology.
Now, let's explore a very interesting field called nanomanufacturing. Don't worry if the term sounds complicated, we'll break it down so it's easy to understand. What is nanomanufacturing? First, let's understand the basic idea. Nanomanufacturing is all about making extremely small materials and devices so small that you can see them even with a regular microscope. We're talking about the nanoscale, which is 1 billion times smaller than a matter. Why does this matter? Because when materials are created at such a tiny scale, they develop new and special properties. They can become stronger, lighter, more flexible, and more conductive. This is why we now have flexible screens, super fast computer chips, and stronger medical tools. Nanomanufacturing also focuses on producing these tiny materials in a reliable, large-scale, and affordable way. Industries want advanced materials that can be mass-produced efficiently, not just tiny, expensive prototypes. There are two main approaches. First is the bottom-up fabrication or the bottom-up approach. Imagine building something from the smallest building blocks like the atoms and molecules. In this method, scientists let these particles assemble themselves into bigger structures similar to how nature works. Think of crystals. No one manually arranges the atoms. They naturally organize themselves. Bottom-up manufacturing works same way like the materials build themselves. So its advantage is its very precise structures, and its disadvantage is slow process because arranging atoms perfectly takes time. The second approach is the opposite, which is the top-down method or the top-down approach. Here, we start with something larger and carve it down to nanoscale sizes, similar to sculpting. A common example is chip manufacturing. We begin with a large silicon wafer, then remove material until only the tiny circuits are left. Its advantages are faster and commonly used in electronics. Its disadvantages is more waste because a lot of material is removed. Next, let's proceed to the hybrid methods or the modern approaches. As technology improved, scientists wondered, what if we combine the precision of bottom-up with the speed of the top-down? This gave rise to the hybrid methods. First, let's talk about the hybrid method or the deep pen lithography. Imagine using an extremely tiny pen, smaller than what we can see, to draw nanoscale patterns. This pen is actually the tip of an atomic force microscope. Scientists dip it into a chemical solution like ink and write very small designs on the surface. So its advantage is highly accurate, great for custom nanoscale patterns used in advanced electronics and nanotech research. Now, let's proceed to the self-assembly. This method allows nanoscale components to arrange themselves automatically, like magnets snapping together. It's inspired by how biological systems work. For example, DNA knows exactly how to fold and pair up on its own, right? So in self-assembly, it creates complex patterns without manual work, and it is efficient and natural process. So we have here chemical vapor disposition, or the CVD. CVD, this is a method where gas chemicals react and form a thin film on a surface. Think of a forming droplets on a bathroom mirror, but instead of water droplets, CVD produces high-quality materials like graphene or nanotube layers. So it produces pure, high-performance films used in electronics, solar panels, aerospace, and more. So to sum it up, nanomanufacturing helps us create new materials with amazing properties. It uses two major approaches, the bottom-up and the top-down, plus modern hybrid techniques such as deep pen lithography, self-assembly, and chemical vapor disposition, and more. These methods allow us to make the advanced materials found in our phones, computers, medical devices, and future technologies like flexible electronics and powerful nanosensors. And that will be all for my part. Thank you.
Nano-imprint lithography is a nanofabrication method where a pattern mold is physically pressed onto a material to replicate the nanoscale structures, making it a simpler and more affordable alternative to photolithography while still producing the intricate patterns found in microchips and other electronic components. This picture shows a mold being stamped onto a substrate, visually demonstrating how nanoscale features are transferred mechanically, similar to stamping a design but at incredibly tiny scale. Molecular beam metaxasy is an ultra-precise technique that grows extremely thin atomic layers inside an ultra-high vacuum chamber, allowing engineers to create advanced devices such as semiconductor or lasers, HMTs, and quantum node structures. You can see the MPE chamber with heated sources and vacuum systems, illustrating the highly controlled environment where atoms travel as molecular beams and form layers on a substrate. Roll-to-roll processing is a continuous manufacturing method where nanoscale patterns or coatings are applied to long, flexible sheets of plastic or metal, enabling fast, large-scale, and low-cost production of flexible solar cells, bendable displays, and printed electronics. The picture shows a sheet moving with multiple rollers, representing how materials or processes non-stop 1 nanoscale features are printed or deposited across the entire roll. Atomic layer epexy deposits materials 1 atomic layer at a time using self-limiting reactions, ensuring uniform, precise, and conformal coatings used in high dielectrics corrosion, barriers, and technology. So the picture displays alternating thin layers forming on a surface highlighting how alloy builds structures with atomic level accuracy and consistent thickness across even complex shapes. So this nano manufacturing example shows how nanoscale structures can be arranged in highly ordered patterns to create materials with improved electrical, mechanical, or optical performance. So this picture typically features magnified nanoscale grids or lines, demonstrating the level of precision and uniformity that modern nanofabrication processes can achieve. So biological components naturally exist at the nanoscale, such as the DNA at 2 nanometer and hemoglobin at 5.5 nanometer, allowing nanotechnology to work directly with the building blocks of life to improve drug delivery, diagnostics, gene therapy, biosensors, and tissue engineering. So this picture shows nanoscale biological structure like DNA strands or proteins, emphasizing their tiny size and showing how nanotechnology aligns perfectly with biological systems.
Biology happens at the nanoscale. Many of these sexual processes in living organisms occur at extremely small sizes, on the order of nanometers. 1 nanometer is a billionth of a meter. For example, DNA is only about 2 nanometers wide, and hemoglobin proteins are around 5.5 nanometers. Because biological structures are this small, modern medical research increasingly uses nanoscale tools to interact with cells and molecules more precisely. These tools allow for earlier disease detection, more targeted treatments, and fewer side effects. For example, the biobarcode assay can detect extremely tiny amounts of disease markers in blood, much smaller amount than traditional tests, making diagnosis faster and more accurate. Number 2, when materials get extremely small, about 1 to 100 nanometer, they no longer behave like the same materials in its larger form. It's because quantum effects, the rule of physics governing every small particles, starts to dominate their behavior. At the nanoscale, properties as such color, chemical reactivity, magnetism, electric conductivity, and melting point can change dramatically from bulk material. Example, gold nanoparticles. Normal gold looks yellow, but gold nanoparticles appear red or purple due to changes in how their electrons behave. So, these nanoparticles can be used in targeted cancer imaging and therapy, helping doctors destroy tumors with minimal damage to healthy tissues. And lastly, we have huge surface area compared to larger particles. As particles get smaller, their surface area relative to their volume increases dramatically. This is important because chemical reactions happen on surfaces. More surface area, the higher their reactivity. Materials can act very differently at the nanoscale. For example, 1 cubic centimeter of micrometer-sized cubes has a surface area of about 6 meters squared. The same volume of the nanometer-sized cubes has a surface area of about 6,000 meters squared and a 1,000-fold increase. This enormous surface area makes nanoparticles more reactive and useful in applications such as catalysis, energy storage, and drug delivery. Thank you.
Nanotechnology has become one of the most rapidly advancing fields in modern science because of its potential to improve industries such as medicine, electronics, agriculture, and environment. Many countries around the world have invested heavily in nanotechnology, research, and development. First, we have the United States. The National Nanotechnology Initiative, or the NNI, the United States established the National Nanotechnology Initiative in 2001 to coordinate all federal research in nanotechnology. It is one of the largest and most well-founded programs globally. The U.S. government allocates billions of dollars each year to support innovation, research, laboratories, and technology development. In 2008 and 2009 alone, the U.S. invested $1.4 billion and $1.5 billion respectively, showing its strong commitment to leading global nanotechnology progress. Second, we have the European Commission. Europe also has a structured effort in nanotechnology. In 2008, the European Commission officially launched European Nanotechnology Initiative Advisory Council, or the ENIAC. This program encourages collaboration among European nations to strengthen their technological competitiveness, especially in nanotechnology electrons. Third, we have the Japan. Japan's government supports nanotechnology through the Nanotechnology Research Institute under AIST, or National Institute for Advanced Industrial Science and Technology. Japan is known for its advanced research facilities and consistent funding to maintain leadership in materials science and electronics. Fourth, we have the Taiwan. Taiwan funds nanotechnology through its National Science and Technology Program for Nanoscience and Nanotechnology. So this initiative focuses on producing high-quality research and supporting Taiwan's strong semiconductor and electronics industries. Fifth, we have the India. So India promotes nanotechnology through the Nanotechnology Research and Education Foundation. Their focus includes expanding nanoscience education, strengthening research capabilities, and applying nanotechnology to solve societal issues. Sixth, we have China. China established the National Center for Nanoscience and Technology, showing its long-term investment toward becoming a global leader in nanotech. So China has rapidly expanded its research infrastructure, and it's now producing significant scientific output in the field. Seventh, we have the Israel. So Israel, the National Nanotechnology Initiative, aims to develop advanced nanotechnology industries. So Israel is particularly strong in innovation, materials, science, and biomedical application. Eighth, we have Australia. Australian support field through the Australian Office of Nanotechnology, focusing on national coordination and the safe, responsible development of nanotechnology-based solutions. Ninth, we have Canada. Canada's National Institute for Nanotechnology, or NINT, provide research, founding laboratories, and partnerships with universities to advance discoveries in nanomaterials and biomedical applications. Then we have South Korea. South Korea invests through the Korea National Nanotechnology Initiative. Their focus is on strengthening the semiconductor technology and developing nanomaterial for industry. 11, we have Thailand. Thailand established the National Nanotechnology Center, or the Nanotech, which promote research, nanomaterials, agriculture, electronics, and environmental applications. Lastly, we have Malaysia. Malaysia funds nanotechnology through the Malaysia Nanotechnology Initiatives, or the NNI, targeting applications in industry, healthcare, and environmental sustainability. And that would be all. Thank you.
So now let's continue our discussion about the possible application of nanotechnology in the Philippines according to DIRE 2005. So the first one is the ICT, or Information Communication and Technology, and semiconductors. So using nanotechnology to improve electronic devices, computer chips, and communication systems. So for example, smaller and faster microchips, high-speed communication devices, more efficient sensors and gadgets. So nanotechnology is important because it makes electronic devices faster, smaller, and more powerful. And the second one is the health and medicine. So using nanotechnology to diagnose diseases, make medicines, and improve medical equipment. So for example, nano-drug delivery. So medicine goes directly to the sick parts. So nano-bandages for faster healing, early detection of cancer using nanosensors. So nanotechnology improves healthcare by making diagnosis and treatments for more accurate and effective. And the third one is the efficient appliances. Nanotechnology helps reduce electricity costs by creating cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient energy solution. And the fourth is the food and agriculture. So using nanotechnology to improve crop production for quality and food safety. So for example, is nanofertilizer that helps crops grow healthier, food packaging that prevents spoilage, sensor to detect food contamination. Nanotechnology increases food quality and productivity by improving crop growth and food safety. And lastly, the environment. So nanotechnology used to protect, clean, and monitor the environment. For example, is nanofilter for cleaners water, materials that absorb toxic chemicals, air purifiers using nanoparticles. So nanotechnology protects the environment by helping clean water, air, and soil more effectively. And that's all for my part. Thank you.
The Nanotechnology Roadmap for the Philippines developed under PCAS, DRD-DOS, or the Program for Collaborative Applied Sciences Technology Resource Division of the Department of Science and Technology. This roadmap identifies the priority areas where our country should focus its nanotechnology research and development. So first we have here the ICT and semiconductors. Nanotechnology can make our electronic devices better. It helps create smaller, faster, and more powerful microchips and sensors. This improves our gadgets and strengthens our technology industry. Next is health and biomedical. In health, nanotechnology can improve medical tools and treatments. Example includes nanorobots for targeted treatments and nanodiagnostic strips. This helps doctors diagnose and treat diseases more accurately. Next is energy. Nanotechnology helps improve energy sources. It can create better solar panels, stronger batteries, and energy-saving materials. This supports cleaner and more efficient energy for the country. Next is environment. Nanotechnology can help protect the environment. It can use for water filters, materials that break down toxic waste, and air pollution sensors. This helps reduce pollution and keep our surroundings clean. And next is the agriculture and food. Nanotechnology can improve farming and food safety. Examples include nanopesticides, smart food packaging, and soil sensors. This helps farmers grow more food and keep food fresh and safe. And the next one is health and environmental risk. This area studies the possible dangers of nanotechnology. Scientists test if nanoparticles are harmful and create safety rules. This ensures that nanotechnology is safe for people and the environment. And the next one is nanometrology. Nanometrology means measuring very tiny particles accurately. Scientists create tools and standards to measure materials at the nanoscales. This also helps make sure nanotech products are correct and reliable. And last one is the education and public awareness. The last area focuses on teaching people about nanotechnology. This includes school lessons, training for researchers, and also public seminars. Educating people helps the country understand and support nanotechnology. In summary, the roadmap focuses on 8 areas: the ICT, health, energy, environment, agriculture, safety, nanomeasurements, and education. This helps guide the Philippines in guiding a strong and safe nanotechnology future. And that's all.
Nanotechnology refers to the science and engineering of materials at the nanoscale. Because of its unique properties, it has the potential to transform their benefits and concerns across different areas. First, we have the environment. In the environmental sectors, nanotechnology offers several key benefits. It can improve the detection and removal of contaminants, making environmental cleanup more efficient. It also enables the development of industrial processes and the materials that are more environmentally friendly. However, these benefits come with concerns. Nanomaterials tend to have a high reactivity, which can increase their potential of toxicity. Because of their size, they can spread widely in the environment, raising questions about long-term ecological impact. Another major issue is the lack of nano-specific regulations, particularly from agencies such as the Environmental Protection Agency, leaving potential gaps in safety oversight. Second, we have the health. In the field of health, nanotechnology contributes to improved medicine. It allows for targeted drug delivery, advanced diagnostics, and new treatment methods. Despite these advancements, nanotechnology also presents health-related risks. Nanoparticles can cross cell membranes and move throughout the body, and their long-term biological effects are still not fully understood. Furthermore, some products containing nanomaterials, such as cosmetics and supplements, may not require approval from regulatory bodies like the FDA, which increases uncertainty regarding consumer safety. And lastly, we have the economy. Economically, nanotechnology can stimulate growth by creating better products, and it can also generate new job opportunities. It has the potential to drive innovation and support emerging industries. On the other hand, economic benefits may not be equally distributed. Nanotechnology contribute to wealth inequality if access to its benefits is limited. Additionally, if environmental or health risks arise, the cost of cleanups and medical care could be significant. Ensuring that nanotechnology is accessible across different income levels remains an ongoing challenge. So, in summary, nanotechnology offers transformative benefits across multiple sectors, but it also introduces
laws and safety regulations. The government will need to make sure that nanotech is used responsibly and safely. The problem and the product solved. So it's also essential to identify the specific problem nanotechnology is designed to solve. It may help with disease detection, environmental cleanup, providing safe material including devices, or making energy use more efficient. Clearly defining the problem ensures that the technology truly addresses a real need. Next is we have the access and the exclusion. So another important consideration is who will have access to the technology. Typically those who can afford, such as the hospital, industries, as well as the funded institutions will benefit first. But this can leave out low-income communities or regions with limited technological distribution, leading to inequality. Ethical research should also consider ways to avoid this exclusion. Next is the dangers and minimizing risks. So nanotechnology also comes with potential risks such as toxicity, environmental pollution, misuse, or health hazards. To minimize this risk, researchers must conduct strict testing, follow clear regulations, practice ethical guidelines, manage waste properly, and maintain transparency with the public. Next is the ownership and ensuring access. So finally, we ask now, who owns the technology? Ownership may fall under developers, companies, or government agencies. But to ensure the fair access strategies such as affordable pricing, open licensing, government support, and distribution programs for marginalized groups should be in place. This ensures that the benefits of nanotechnology reach everyone, not just selective few. For the conclusion, conducting research on nanotechnology goes beyond the scientific innovation. It involves understanding its social impact, its ethical responsibilities, and ensuring that it is safe, fair, and accessible to all. By considering this aspect, we can use nanotechnology to truly improve society. That is.
Thank you for that explanation, Davey. So to conclude our discussion, I will share the summary of it. Nanotechnology is the science of making and using extremely small materials called nanomaterials. So these tiny materials help improve the healthcare, the environment, energy, food, water, and agriculture. For example, in water purification or developing better medicines. So it allows us to advance science and technology while improving our quality of life. But as the saying goes, with great powers comes with great responsibility. So before using a nanotechnology, we must also consider social, ethical, and environmental concerns, such as ensuring that nanomaterials do not harm the human health or contaminate ecosystems. Now, to explore this further, we have some questions. So, first, what are nanomaterials and how are they made? So, nanomaterials are extremely small materials, usually 1 to 100 nanometers in size. So, they can be made by breaking down larger materials or by building them atom by atom. So, the second question is that what factors need to be considered before manufacturing them? So, we need to consider safety, the cost, and the environmental effects, and the impact on people and society. And the last question is that how does this nanotechnology help the environment? So it helps clean water, reduce pollution, create cleaner energy, and make materials that use fewer resources, and supporting a sustainable environment. Like as Albert Einstein said,